Hello, this is Nicole Bandis with another awesome episode of Delegate This. And today we are going to be talking about financial stuff, like just one piece of the big financial pie. And my guest today is Shanna Tingom, who I've known for a long time, and she's totally awesome and great and just she's the person to talk to when it comes to delegating some of our financial investing. So Shanna, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Nicole. My name is Shanna Tingom. I co-own Heritage Financial Strategies, headquartered out of Gilbert, Arizona. And we do two different things in my practice. We do financial planning, which is sort of the big picture, 50,000 foot level roadmap, if you will, of your financial life. And we also do investment management as a part of that. So we do all of the implementation of the recommendations in the financial plan, soup to nuts, and we take care of everything that folks may not want to take care of themselves.
Yeah, and so, this is one of those things, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have a conversation with you is because this is one of those things that people can say, well, my company does my, I've got some 401k stuff with my company, or, my husband kind of takes care of putting stuff into mutual funds here and there. Why would somebody want to delegate this instead of trying to do it themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get that question a lot, and there's nothing wrong with doing it yourself from a certain perspective, but the more pieces of the puzzle that you have, the more likely it is that you're going to double dip or duplicate efforts on various fronts. So you might have a 401k at work, your spouse might have a 401k or 403b at their work. You might have mutual funds over here and a 529 plan over there with exactly the same investments in them. And then that ends up leaving you exposed because you've got all of your eggs in these one or two or three or four baskets when there are thousands of choices out there to pick from. But the hard part for individuals is really knowing which eggs to pick in those baskets. And that's where I come in.
Yeah, that's great. And I love that. And I would imagine because, and I'm not a financial person, so I don't know all of the stuff, but I would imagine if you are investing in two different places to the same funds, you're probably paying two different fees to do the same thing. And that kind of doesn't really make sense. I mean, really, you're losing money. So what is one of the mistakes that you often see people make when they're doing this on their own?
Yeah, so there's a lot of great resources out there today, right? You can Google anything you want. You can listen to a podcast or read a book or listen to a radio show or watch a TV show. And all these financial gurus are talking about their different specific, ideas and knowledge. And so what I see happen all the time is folks trying to take multiple different theories and different ideas and sort of like mash them all together into an overall strategy that may or may not be the right strategy for them. And so they end up doing this thing over here and that thing over there. And they don't necessarily have a plan that looks at the entire picture. Instead it looks, at all these different pieces. And they might be missing something really important in the middle that they don't even know they need.
Yeah, it's kind of like going shopping on one occasion for the shoes and on a different occasion for the skirt. You know me. Anyway, it's all just mismatched when you get out. So here's a thing that I've always sort of had that challenge with, and I know other people have too. How do people know the right questions to ask to delegate? Like, how do I know that you're the right person for me to work with, kind of scenario?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Actually, on my blog, I have a post that I've written about I think it's like the 10 questions you should ask your financial professional, because we all kind of operate a little bit differently. We all have this, most of us have the same licensing and education and background, but we all can run our practices in the way that we want. So the way I do things may not be the way somebody else does things, and I'm not the right fit for everybody. And I will freely admit that to folks that come in. There are clients that want specific strategies or they want help with specific types of investments that just aren't my strength. And I'll say, hey, that's not me, and I'll be very honest about that. So, a big part of it is really knowing what help you need, where you feel uncomfortable or where you feel stuck. And then you can ask the questions around their experience with those particular things. And that'll help make you feel a little more confident that you've made the right decision.
Yeah, I like that. And definitely, we'll make sure that we link up that article because I'm sure it's a valuable resource. But it also kind of makes me think of another challenge that I can imagine would be, something that people would tend to do when delegating this service. There's one of my, kind of people that I follow and paid attention to, Sandra Yancey always says, delegate, don't abdicate. So I would imagine it's really easy for people to abdicate when they're delegating their financial investing. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the big mistakes I see people make. And I love it that my clients trust me enough to pretty much take my advice across the board. But not every financial professional always has your best interest at heart. And I think really understanding where they're coming from is important. So I always try to educate my clients so that they know just enough to know whatever it is that they need to know about my recommendations so that they feel comfortable they're making the right decision. And so that if they're at a cocktail party or at a Christmas gathering with their family, they can have an educated conversation about what it is that they're doing at whatever level they want and feel comfortable that they can understand what the conversation is about. And so, I see that happen, unfortunately, coming into my office. The aftermath is with, one of those things that I have to end up unwinding sometimes. Somebody that's made a bad decision and given the wrong person, total control or carte blanche to do something, and it's not turned out well. And sometimes that's, it's unfortunate, but sometimes the case is it simply wasn't the right investment to begin with. And sometimes it's just poor timing or not understanding things. But, really understanding what you're getting into before you get into it will help you feel confident that you're not making that mistake on the front end.
Makes sense. Yeah. Is there anything else that people should know when considering delegating this?
Yeah, absolutely. So check out there are a couple of places where you can check out the professional that you're looking to hire. Obviously, look at what licenses and credentials that they have. If they're licensed through FINRA and the SEC, or if they just have a state insurance license, if they have any what we call disclosure events on the FINRA website, that'll be helpful for them to know. So if they've ever had any complaints filed against them or financial troubles, you'll see those on the FINRA website, and you can go look up anybody, any company even, to see where they stand on those types of things. And honestly, a lot of the mistakes that I see people make, people that come into my office that have made a bad decision, would not have made that decision if they'd gone to the FINRA website and checked that person out. So definitely go to broker check on the FINRA website and check out anybody that you're looking to do business with in my industry.
Perfect. I love that. And if somebody does want to work with you, how would they reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, so my website is heritagefinancialaz.com. At the top right corner of my homepage, I have a quick little link there where they can click schedule a consultation. And I do those virtually and in person at both my Scottsdale and Gilbert office. And I'm licensed in 12 states. So even if you're not physically here in Arizona, it's likely I'm licensed in your state as well.
Perfect. I love it. Thanks so much. This has been really good information because definitely not in my zone of genius, but that's why I bring on the experts, right? Thanks, Shanna. I appreciate you being here today. And for those of you out there, make sure that you're doing your research. I will include those links for how to get more information from Shanna and what questions to ask, especially if you're not in one of those 10 states that she's licensed in. You will know exactly how to do your due diligence and make sure that you delegate right.